This is an NYY Sports Talk podcast presented to you by Baseballism, a premium lifestyle apparel brand inspired by America's pastime. Baseballism is America's brand.
Welcome back. This is episode 13 of Hitting Hard. I'm your host, Christian, and we are presented to you by Baseballism.com. Usually I do this show live streaming on Twitter, but I wanted to bring in Stat Guy Rye with me here today.
What up?
We're going to be doing a little end game podcast here. We're going to talk about Avengers Endgame, which came out a week ago Thursday. This should be dropping Friday morning, so hopefully everybody's had a chance to see it yet. The movie's only made $1 billion, so
It's just absolutely nuts how much money. You know how much it cost to make this movie?
I think 300 and
It was $400 million.
Yeah.
They made $350 million
just
opening
in
weekend in America.
Yeah.
What did you say they were at up to now? $2 billion or something?
What did I text you earlier?
I don't know, dude. It is nuts.
I've
never seen anything like this.
I saw a tweet earlier today that the MCU in this 22 movies, right?
Yeah.
Have made a total combined $20 billion. It's like averaging $1 billion a movie right now.
And how much did Disney even buy Marvel for, remember?
$12 probably.
I don't know, man. But what'd you think, dude? It was they bought Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion.
Yeah, I would say
shit.
it was a sound investment. They bought him for $4 billion in August of 2009, and the MCU started what in late summertime 2008 was when Iron Man came out.
Iron Man was
I think they recouped their money.
I think so. I think it was a good move by Disney.
So Stat Guy Ryan and I were sitting down. We were bullshitting about the movie before we sat down to record episode 114 of the NYY Sports Talk podcast last Sunday. And I said, you know what, even though we did kind of get most of it out, I said, you know what, let's sit down and let's actually record an episode of Hitting Hard where we talk about Avengers Endgame. It's literally the biggest movie ever.
Definitely. It's got to be the biggest movie ever.
I've never seen the way that, you know, pre-sales and theaters selling out and lines and all, not for nothing.
Dude, I went at 9:30 in the morning.
On a Friday.
Right?
Yeah.
9:30 in the morning, and the theater was packed.
My movie time to go is always 10 a.m. on a Saturday because it's usually empty.
Right.
You know, it's still early on a Saturday. People are out doing whatever. And I'm talking about the biggest blockbuster movies that have come out in the last decade have to, even for like The Dark Knight Rises, which to me was like the biggest hyped movie since the Avengers, you know, since this whole.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Because I think even though The Dark Knight was better, I think the hype from The Dark Knight led to The Dark Knight Rises being a more hyped up movie.
Right.
Because even if, I don't know if you agree with me or not, I don't really remember hearing a lot about Batman Begins.
No.
And then all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, there's new Batman movies out on DVD. And I watched it and I was like, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, Batman Begins made its name more afterwards when it was on DVD and all that. And then that's when that whole universe really took off.
So then The Dark Knight Rises still was, you know, half a theater. Infinity War was still probably, I guess, would be the next biggest movie for me because I'm not into Star Wars. I'm not into, what's the one where the trolls walk in the woods?
What?
The little troll people walk in the woods.
Troll people walk in the woods?
Yeah, the guy with the black hair.
Oh, dude,
The Ring.
Oh, Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't watch that. I don't watch Harry Potter. So for me,
Star Wars was big in terms of hype. The first Star Wars of this whole trilogy that they're doing now, that was pretty big in terms of hype.
So,
but not like this.
And I would say Infinity War was probably
Smeagol, you were describing that.
Infinity War was probably 70% full, but for Endgame, full. You couldn't even remember because you went up to Boston last weekend. You're like, I have to see the movie before you go to Boston.
Yep.
And I was trying to find you showtimes, and like everything was sold out. I never seen anything like that before.
And they had like 24 hours worth of showings too.
Yeah,
in
it
some
was
theaters, like
it was
Clifton
crazy.
Commons.
So I said, you know what? I haven't done my solo pod in a while because it's just hard to do with the Yankees being back and everything. So I said, let's sit down. Let's do an episode of Hitting Hard where we talk about Endgame.
Hell yeah.
So initial reaction for me, I'm going to give it a number out of 10, and I want you to give it out of 10.
I like the initial. This is our initial
reaction out of 10. Walking out of the theater, I gave it a hard 7.
I give it a 9.
You did. You were I
liked it when I left. So you have it at a 7, right?
I have it at a 7 right now.
So you were a little disappointed walking out of that theater.
And here's why I'm a little disappointed about it. I don't like time travel movies.
I love time travel.
I can and hey, you know what? You want to call me stupid that I can't I can never follow the timeline of when they do time travel.
No, I'm sick of people saying that. So you can't believe the time travel, but you could believe a movie with superheroes and all that. No,
yeah, but I like something in a straight line.
Yes,
even if you got to do a flashback here, a flashback there. Yeah, but you know, like they had to jump. How many times did they jump? Did they jump all 6 times? No, because 3 of the stones were in the same place.
It was 3 different jumps. They traveled through 3 different timelines: New York, New Jersey, and then what was the third one?
When Black Widow and
the
Hawkeye
Stone,
went to go get the soul.
And
we should say that if you, and I don't know if I said this when I opened, if you haven't seen Endgame yet, don't listen to this pod because there will be spoilers. Okay,
definitely.
Yeah, they went to Vormir where they had to make the sacrifice. Here's where the movie loses me to a degree. The time travel, although some parts of it were really cool, I liked how I'll call it bonus scenes. Where you got like bonus scenes of the initial Avengers movie.
Right, where you saw a scene from a different perspective or something.
Or like what happened after they apprehended Loki, like that whole scene. Like that stuff was cool.
I like that too.
But, you know, like here's where it loses me, right? I was supposed to read an article before I recorded this, but I didn't. And supposedly it explains how old man Captain America is there at the end of the movie. But that loses me because at the end of the movie, is Captain America still back in 1943?
No. The Captain America that we've watched in our universe that we've seen over these 22 movies, that was him back on that bench as an old man. Which was kind of freaky how they did that, because I don't think that was him playing the actor, but it was definitely like mixed with his voice or something.
It didn't really look like Chris Evans.
It didn't look like him. Sometimes it would resemble him, but it sounded like him, like an old man Chris Evans. It was pretty creepy. But how I interpreted that was they send him back to deliver all the stones, right?
Yeah.
And when he's up to the point where he's at in New Jersey to return what's the Tesseract, right? That was that stone.
Yeah, that's where they got that from.
That was probably the last one he did, right? So instead of then hopping back through the time friggin' portal thing, which would only take 5 seconds in the actual
real
universe,
time,
right? He decides he's going to live his life in that universe. And then he hops back. No, wait, but see, even when I'd say that, then
it doesn't make any sense.
Like how did he get back there?
But how is he old then?
Right. See, that's where it loses me, because he should have been snapped back as his younger, as like 5 second later Cap. Like, how did he get back there?
I get why they did it, because he has to give the shield to Falcon.
Right. Which they did a lot in this movie that kind of was more to set up their future installments. Like that seemed like it was more so they could have that whole Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Loki retrieving the Tesseract was for his solo movie show on Disney Plus.
Isn't the last scene in the movie him dancing with Peggy?
Yes. So which has been like the central theme of his character. Like that was the arc.
Yeah, which is fine.
Him dancing with Peggy.
I don't have no problem with the movie ending like that, with that being his swan song. But then why is he back as an old man? And then that's where that's where I get confused, because then we're led to believe that he's still in 1940 or wherever he is.
Yeah, the more I think of, I thought I had that figured out. That he
because
just
you see old man,
life.
You see old man Captain America. He gives the shield to Sam, right? And then and then the last scene in the movie is him dancing with Peggy. So that, to me, the last scene of the movie, where, to me, I'm taking it as Captain America's living his life with his girl.
I just, dude, and that's kind of where this movie got me. I left the theater absolutely loving it, and then the more I thought about all these little, time travel loops that they might have created, it kind of took away from the movie, because it's just, you need some sort of realism. I know it's stupid, but you need it to work within the universe.
Yes.
And I don't know if that worked. I thought it worked, but now I don't know. How the hell did he get back on that bench?
I could have done without the old man. He could have left the shield, or done. There could have been some other way to get the shield to him, and then just the last scene in the movie, him with Peggy, which would have been a nice ending,
right?
for
and
him.
then you would have been like, oh, he just stayed in that universe.
He just stayed there. But now I'm confused. And like I said, I might have to read this article. Maybe it clarified it, but it could have just. I don't know who wrote it. I doubt the Russo brothers wrote this article, so It could be just more speculation. But there was only three if you want, four if you want to count Thanos twice, right?
What, deaths?
Deaths, right?
Yeah, you had Thanos in the first 10 minutes, which was pretty awesome.
See, when that happened, I thought this movie was going to grab you by the throat and never let go. And then it just kind of, went on for a little bit. I think when they introduced
2014 Thanos, kind of seeing what the Avengers are up to, that's when it kind of lost you a little bit, when it really started to incorporate the time travel. Because that was you couldn't have predicted that Thanos was going to be the villain again in this one.
No, I always thought he was going to be the villain. I just didn't think they were going to kill him in 10 minutes into the movie.
Right. I thought it would have been handled differently. Like it was more just them trying to retrieve the stones or something. I don't know. But I didn't think it would be a huge battle versus Thanos in the end.
I didn't think it would. Marvel movies always have that lightheartedness, the jokes or whatever. Mm-hmm. I didn't, even though it did, and I did laugh a few times, I didn't want that in this movie. I wanted it to be dark and somber, because half the universe just died. Half of their friends are missing, and they're wisecracking.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I think of, there was a few too many wisecracks in there. Considering
the two big deaths were Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And obviously Iron Man, right? So we'll go into Black Widow first. What pisses me off about her dying is that they already announced her solo movie.
Right.
So now so there's no, it's not, we'll get into the way they could do it, but it's a prequel now. And I hate prequels.
Confirms it. Yeah, because there's no resolve. There's no end.
Two of my least favorite MCU movies were the first Captain America and Captain Marvel. And they're both prequels.
Right.
Because to steal this phrase, the end game. You know that there's no real consequence in the movie. Mm-hmm. Because these characters have to get to a certain point. So it's just like you're wasting your time. And that's, what? And that's what I felt like, and you can maybe disagree with me. Did you see Captain Marvel?
Yes.
You did end up watching it. I felt like it was a big waste of time. Because especially with her role in Endgame, you had to sit through a 2-hour Captain Marvel movie for her to be in the movie for 8 minutes?
Yeah, I was surprised with how they handled her, but really, I don't know if you could have used her any other way, just because of how friggin' strong they made her.
Yeah, and
they made her like the end all be all.
And then she did say, and then the 8 minutes that she was in the movie, she managed to save the world twice.
Oh, yeah.
She brought back Iron Man the first time, and then...
which I thought was kind of a cop-out. When I saw him being saved, I thought it was going to be him doing like a full circle. Because, in the first Iron Man, the best part is that he's stuck in the middle of nowhere in some cave.
Desert,
and he friggin' makes his way out of it himself. And then in this one, he's sort of bailed out. Which, I mean, I get it. The way they set it up, it didn't seem like he had any other option but to be saved like that. But I thought it would have been a cool full circle moment if he somehow did it all himself, like the first Iron Man.
Yeah, which I did like... Even though and this is what's wrong with social media, is that people are scumbags and they don't give, and even now, like today, even though I think I read something from a legit website that the official spoiler ban on Endgame is lifted on Monday.
Oh, yeah. That's the limit.
But I guess people decided that it was actually lifted today because on social media, like full scenes of the movie are out there on Twitter today. And
It's
not
crazy. I've never seen a movie try to be spoiled as much as Endgame.
It's because people are scummy like that. Like they just can't
It's
let
so weird to me.
people just, they just can't let things. Did you really need to go out there and tweet about the movie 10 minutes after you saw it?
No.
I mean, I made a tweet about it, but I didn't give anything
No,
away.
yeah. You could say if you liked it or whatever, but don't friggin' tell me something that happens.
So Saturday morning before I went to go see the movie, I went on Twitter and I was just scrolling
Which
through.
was stupid on
It
your end.
was.
You made it. You made it to that day, and you ruined it.
I did, but I was, to be fair, I was looking for some news on the Yankees.
All right. Okay.
I should have muted, certain words, but I don't get that involved in things.
Yeah.
But and then somebody tweeted 5 spoilers for Infinity War. 4 of them happened to be correct. One of them I knew was bullshit. One of them was that Spider-Man stays dead, which you knew wasn't true. But
Yeah, he was the one you knew was coming back.
But the other 4 happen to be true. Iron Man dies, Black Widow dies, Thor joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I forget what the 4th one was now. But 4 of the 5 were correct. And I was pissed. I was so mad because I knew either Captain America or Iron Man were dying in this movie. You knew that both Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans said that they were done playing their characters, and you knew that one of them had to die. That one of them was going to get a happy send-off and one of them was going to die. So when I saw it was Iron Man, I was pissed.
Which they were kind of setting up for Iron Man to get the happy send-off, it seemed. Him having a family now and stuff.
This whole universe was built on Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. It was
100%.
It was the first movie to come out, and if that movie had bombed, we probably would have never even made it this far. You could say, oh, but they 22 movies, all these characters, that set the tone for the whole thing. And still, after 22 movies, and I'll ask you this later, it's still in my top 5 of Marvel MCU movies.
Endgame.
No, the first Iron Man.
The first Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's one of my fringe candidates, the first Iron Man. I don't know if I have it in my top 5.
So the first one we'll handle is Black Widow dying, which I said it pisses me off. Not that she died, but that now that it ruins her solo movie, because either one or two things is going to happen. We're going to find out how she comes from being this Russian assassin to joining the Avengers, which could be cool, but...
Which I think that's what they're going to do.
But still, it's there's no consequence in that.
And you also how she turns out.
Yeah.
She might go from this crazy Russian super spy, somewhat vigilante villain into an Avenger. That's what her end result is.
Or because after they kill Thanos, there's a 5-year jump in between the next set of events in the movie. And she seems to be the only one left at the compound.
And she's doing some shit too. They're doing stuff.
Yeah, she's up to something.
That could be cool.
It could be, but again, it's a prequel.
You
So
still know she's gonna die at the end of that story. Which I don't know. Maybe it's because the kid that was sitting next to me started chuckling during that scene because they kept saving one another back and forth. And right when I heard him start laughing, I'm like, all right, maybe this is kind of funny because they do one trips, then the other one gets, repelled back up. And then you finally think it's Hawkeye. And then bam, Scarlett Johansson comes down and ties him to a rock and she holds on and then lets go.
I thought it was a good scene that could have been great if it didn't go on as long as it did.
Yeah, I think it had one save too many.
I think they each should have had a save.
Yeah, I'm fine with both getting a save in.
And then the cliff scene. But didn't they save each other 9 times?
Yeah, it was at least 4 or 5 saves.
It was too much.
It was 1 or 2 too many.
So she was the first one to get it.
Which, yeah, that was a shocker. That was a surprising one. You would have, the way it was set up was that was where Captain America was going to die, retrieving the Soul Stone. But then you would have had to have an interaction with him and the Red Skull, which a lot of people said that would have been a great after credits scene. Him returning the Soul Stone.
Could have
just
been,
talking the Red Skull.
Could have been.
Because he has to interact with them there.
And then obviously the big one where even though I knew it was coming, it still hit me in the gut.
Because he's just the fucking man.
He is. There's no doubt about it.
Best casting ever.
You could have found 10 better actors than Robert Downey Jr., but none of them would have been better at playing Iron Man.
Absolutely not. He was perfect.
And as I said earlier, he built this whole... His portrayal of Tony Stark built this whole universe.
It's not even a question, really. Because, I mean, they... no, never mind. He set it all up, you know? I mean, even... no. Because I didn't really like Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 2 was okay.
No, I liked Iron Man 2. What was the one with the wrestler? Was that the third one? No, that was the second one.
The wrestler?
Mickey Rourke.
Oh, yeah.
The third one was with, what's his name? Ben Kingsley was...
Iron Man 2 was okay. It introduced Scarlett Johansson into the MCU. Right. It was okay. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of like there. It was okay as a second movie in a trilogy. I thought Iron Man 3 was really good because a lot of the times these movies don't deal with things that happened in the past. And this was the first... I don't know if it was the first movie to come out after the original Avengers or... just the first Iron Man movie to come out, his first time in a movie after the original. But it showed how that scenario, that whole battle in New York screwed him up. Mm-hmm. And I really liked that. And I thought Justin Hammer and if you get a chance, there's a motion comic out there called Iron Man Extremis or Extremis. Mm-hmm. It's really, really good. I don't really like watching motion comics because, it's just basically like a comic that you're watching. Right,
it's got like the bubble with the words and stuff in there.
It might not, but it's just
Extremis.
Yeah, I would recommend watching it because that's where they got the majority of the storyline for Iron Man 3 from.
What's his name? Gondola? What the hell is that guy's name? Medusa?
No, the Mandolin.
Mandolin.
I thought it was really, really good up until the point that they made the Mandarin
Mandarin.
And I don't read. I'll be honest with you. I don't really read the comics. I like watching the movies. Apparently, the Mandarin is like his biggest nemesis in the comics, and they made him out to be a joke. It would be like if
an actor.
It would be like if the Joker was like a Burger King French fry cook or something, Yeah. So I would say Iron Man 3 was good up until they did the big reveal that it was just that the Mandarin was just a joke. But it was pretty good. But right, that scene, as much as it sucked, because it didn't suck because it was a bad scene, it sucked because he died. It was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I think overall that was the best part.
They handled it perfectly, in my opinion. If you're gonna kill him, he went out as the hero.
They from that point on in that movie, which is why overall it was just a great experience for me. They friggin' from him dying on, that movie was amazing. The funeral scene for him,
yeah, that was really good.
They did that slow pan throughout the entire universe, like the grouping, and it was all one shot. I wonder if they really did that in one shot, or if it was probably CGI.
And you got to give them credit, man, because the way they pay attention to detail and shit, although the time travel thing may not have it just seems like that's something they came up with after they did Infinity War, not like a long-term planning thing. But the fact that they went back and they put a character in there that was supposed to I don't know if it was the same kid or not, but it was the same kid?
I'm pretty sure it was,
wow.
Yeah.
That they brought that kid back, the kid that he fixes the Iron Man suit with in Iron Man 3. And they literally brought back, I think Anthony Hopkins was the only character that had a decent-sized role in all these movies that didn't show back up in Endgame.
Even fucking Robert Redford was there.
What was
I don't know if he was in Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
Just I think the best part of the movie was once all the superheroes come back and then they do that long line of every single superhero from the entire movie, and then it lands on Captain America and he does the Avengers Assemble line.
Yeah, because
that was pretty sick, dude. That brought it all together. You're watching like this is the moment.
Yeah, because a couple of times in other movies you don't hear the whole phrase. I think it was at the end of Civil War where he goes Avengers and then it just fades
cuts
to black
off or something.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But back to the death scene when he does the snap and he says, "I am Iron Man."
Oh.
That was it. That was it right there.
Yeah, because what does Thanos say right before I am inevitable?
Yeah.
He goes to snap, the stones are gone.
Yeah.
I am Iron Man.
Yeah. And that was how he ended the first movie.
Right.
When he was like, screw this, I am Iron Man.
Which was fucking awesome. Then
But then when the light goes off in his thing, that was just like, wow.
He was fucking awesome in that movie from the beginning on. Because even when he comes back from the spaceship, he played that part great. Like how he was like,
did
skinny.
you like in the funeral? Yeah, I mean,
he looked like shit in those first few scenes.
I don't mean to make light of cancer. I know how serious it is. I really do. But I said to my cousin, I go, did he get cancer for this role?
He looked very sick.
Because it wasn't Christian Bale bad, where like Christian Bale would like literally like weigh 90 pounds for a role.
He lost a shit ton of weight for some movies.
Did you like that? I like that his last words were "I am Iron Man." Did you like that he did kind of come back and have that video that he showed to everybody?
Yeah, that was incredible.
You did like that?
Yeah, you didn't like it?
I did, but then it did take away a little bit of the lasting impact of him saying "I am Iron Man."
I mean, I could see it taking away from it, but I also kind of liked it because that's something that Tony Stark would do. He would use that kind of technology to get one last message in.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know. I didn't really think of it that way. I just liked it because it was just, one final time seeing Tony Stark. And even the line that Jon Favreau, what's his character's name?
Happy.
He even tells the kid, you could have as many hamburgers
as
you want. That was another callback line to something Tony said, I think in the first Iron Man. I don't know.
No, it was because when he comes back from, it was supposed to be Afghanistan.
Yes, I think it was, yeah.
He wanted to go to the hospital. They wanted to take him to the hospital, and he wanted cheeseburgers instead.
Right.
Yeah, that was cool. You got to give him credit for some attention to detail with small little stuff like that, which, to fans that have seen all 22 movies, we're gonna pick up on stuff like that, and we're gonna appreciate. What was I going to say? I lost my.
I don't know, man.
I lost my train of thought here for a second because Chris just texted us. Actually.
Oh yeah.
So you are changing your rating of the movie? Or are you still sticking with a 9?
I'm gonna bump it to an 8 overall.
Okay.
Because I'll go initial reaction 9. Thinking about the whole time travel thing, and I'm still not even sold on it, but I would make it a 7 after thinking of that. And then just the fact that they were able to bring 22 movies together and pace not even be an issue. Think about that, dude. The last 2 movies, pace could have ruined this movie where it's just too much going on, not enough time, or too much time and not enough going on. They handled a 3-hour movie like Endgame was perfectly. So when you think about it that way, this huge, it's an event. It's more than just this movie, and you think of it of a culmination of characters.
You know what? That's a great way to put it. It wasn't in a movie as much as it was in an event.
It was an event. This was an event. This was a friggin' 22 years in the making, dude.
Well, 22
movies in the making, not years. You know what I meant. So when I think of it that way, I can't give it anything lower than an 8 out of 10 because it's just like, I mean, think of what they were able to pull off, dude. They had like 64 main characters in these last 2 movies. It was
insane.
Just a crazy amount of characters that they had to, like, I never had a moment where I'm watching like, all right, you gotta move on from this scene, or where was that? Why wasn't that talked about?
And
more?
that's where I'll give the movie its most credit. 3 hours and I was never bored.
Not once. Flew by.
So I'll say this. I need to see it again.
Totally.
Because sometimes, and I've been guilty of this in the past, where I have such great expectations on something that the first time I see it, I'm going in with all those expectations, and it might be impossible for the movie to live up to those expectations. I'll admit, Batman is my favorite comic book character of all time.
Same here, I'd say.
Okay. And after seeing Batman Begins, I was and the Joker being my favorite villain, I was
that reveal at the end of Batman Begins was pretty awesome.
I was so hyped up for The Dark Knight, and I didn't really like it the first time I saw it.
Yeah, you told me that.
And then I was like, you know what? I got to take a step back. I got to give it a week. And then when I saw it the second time, I was like, there it is.
You really appreciated it.
Yeah. So I have to see it again. Some of the problems with the time travel probably will still be there, but I think the impact of what that movie was will hit me, because you're anticipating certain things to happen, and now that you know that they're going to happen, then you can appreciate everything else that's happening around it. So I think that I do need to see it again. I don't know if I can. I really want to go see it Saturday, but I don't know if I have time to do it.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely the kind of movie you gotta go see it at least twice.
I saw Infinity War twice in theaters, and this was back at a time when I was working 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I made my mind up that my wife was like, go home and take a nap and then go see the movie. And I was like, no, I need to go see this movie immediately after I get out of work. And I fell asleep through half of it.
Oh, that's why you fell asleep.
Yeah. And I was pissed because I'm waking up and then like half the Avengers are dead.
Yeah. You woke up to that. Jesus.
Yeah, okay.
Oh man, nothing's better than that movie, man.
All right, so anything else on Endgame that you want to touch on that you think that we should discuss? Because outside of Thor was pretty awesome in this movie.
I like Captain America when he does the Hail Hydra line in the elevator. Yeah. I thought that showed a lot of growth, that he, instead of fighting out of that situation, he used his intelligence at that point and didn't use his fists. He just used a clever deception.
Well, that was another thing, right? Didn't they make it a point to say that you can't interact with your past self? And then he fights himself.
I know. That's another thing that bothered me too, because they said we have to make sure we don't change anything, but then you go ahead and, you change that.
But did they set that all up for the whole clever "that's America's ass" bit? Did they do that just to set that whole thing up?
I do have America. That probably was all for that line. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I wish I could see. That's what else I wanted to say, though. I hope the next Doctor Strange kind of gets into
because they didn't. Yeah, because they did not explain. That's not that the time travel is one thing, but where were they? Where were these?
Yeah, like where
the fallen people.
I know. Well, Spider-Man kind of has a line where he's like, Doctor Strange said it's been 5 years. It's only felt like 5 hours or something. Like he says something like that. Like,
I need to know, it's been 5 years.
I would love it if the next Doctor Strange is just all about this. Not, I don't know, just all about time travel and like that aspect of the story.
One of these next upcoming movies needs to really break down what happened to the Avengers or just these people that died.
Did the whole rat like queuing up the whole thing bother you, or did you see that and then you're like, oh well, Strange did say there's 14 million possibilities, so maybe this was in his 14 million.
It was kind of
pissed me off.
It was kind of simplistic that a rat brought back Ant-Man.
I hate that kind of stuff in movies. Those like simplistic tribes that they do it to move the story along, but it's really like, how did that even happen?
There's so much other stuff happening in this movie, and Ant-Man coming back was a big part of the movie, but that was such a minor thing that I could see why you were upset by it, but it didn't really bother me.
I think they had Tony Stark figure out time travel way too easy. Like he kind of just like boom figured it out.
Well, you remember in the first Avengers movie when Captain America says to him, "Suit of armor, take that away. What are you?" And he goes, "Genius, playboy, philanthropist." So
yeah. Like I just like, wow, he really figured out time travel. And like I thought it maybe would have been cool if he finds out about time travel being a possibility, then a time jump, and then he figures it out.
Here's another thing that bothered me about the movie: that now Banner and the Hulk are just one person.
Oh, I thought he was the best
the
part.
Character itself when they played it was fine.
That's in the comics. That does happen.
But that was a big part of Infinity War, that the Hulk got his ass kicked by Thanos.
And he didn't address that well enough.
He didn't want to come out.
No.
Because for the first time, the Hulk was scared.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now...
Yeah, they didn't handle that well.
No, they didn't. But no, it was okay, though. Yeah, there's
Yeah, there's a bug.
For anybody that saw episode 115 of the NYY Sports Talk podcast, we had to kill 2 bugs, and now there's a third one here. And Chris is back. Chris is actually up here to produce the end of the show here. And careful, bro. That could be Ant-Man. Dick.
Watching the pod.
Yeah, so there was a couple things that they were big. They were kind of big points that they kind of just like let go of. But yeah.
Those are the kind of thing that just happens in those kind of movies, you know?
Yeah, but like the Hulk getting like, yeah, but that was a big part of Infinity War to me, why the Hulk didn't want to come out.
Oh, that's one of the biggest parts of the whole movie.
All right, so pretty straight on covering the movie, you would say?
Yeah, I think we covered it.
All right, so let's wrap this up here. Top 5 MCU movies. I'll give you my top 5 because you said you had an issue with
the bottom
with the bottom of yours, and this is the last thing I'll say on Endgame. Okay. I think that
what was your overall rating?
I'm just gonna stay with a 7 right now, until I see it again. I will say this: above everything else, this movie was what it was intended to be, and I think for that it deserves a passing grade. It was intended to be the final chapter of this portion of the MCU and the final chapters of Iron Man and Captain America, and it succeeded in being those things. So I will say that a failing grade because
it made 357 million opening. The next biggest was Infinity War at 257. So it made 100 million more than any other movie ever.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's insane. Crazy.
My top 5 before Endgame came out was Thor Ragnarok. I love that movie. I really did. Man. I thought it was it was almost like it was almost like a good buddy cop movie with Hulk and with Thor.
It was just something unlike any other movie they made it did it in a good way.
Whereas sometimes I felt Guardians of the Galaxy, especially the second one, were too funny.
Yes.
This one was funny and then got serious, so it did pick up, especially towards the end when they destroyed Asgard. Number 4 was Infinity War.
Wait, so hold on. You have Thor as 5?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm hoping that I still have the order correct. Infinity War was 4. Iron Man, the first one, was 3. Civil War was 2. Civil War is a phenomenal movie. And they really should have named it Avengers 2.5 because that's what it was.
Yeah, I agree.
And it introduced a lot of new characters into the MCU, Black Panther and Spider-Man. And
what's your one? The first Avengers?
Still the first Avengers, because that movie needed. It was ahead. Not that it was ahead of its time, but it was the first of its kind, and it met every expectation that I had for it.
That's fair.
Now, would I put Endgame in the top 5? I need to see it again before I bump Ragnarok. I really do. I'm sitting right now in that 6 range for it. And I'm not going to go through 22 movies, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm just not going to do it. No. I'm sitting in that 6 range there, and maybe a little lower, around 7. I need to see it again. And maybe it bumps Ragnarok. But right now, I'm sticking with that as my top 5.
I think mine would be number 5. Let's see if I can write this out here. 5 would be Avengers for me, the original.
Okay.
4 would be... No, wait. No, I think 5 might be Doctor Strange, dude. I love Doctor Strange. All right, so let's put Doctor Strange at 5, Avengers at 4.
You and I couldn't be more opposed on different ends of the spectrum with Doctor Strange, because that's probably my bottom 5.
I know. No, number 5 for me is Endgame.
Okay.
Number 4 is the first Avengers.
Okay.
Number 3 is Civil War.
Okay.
Number 2 is Thor Ragnarok. I friggin' love that movie, dude. And number 1, Infinity Wars.
Okay, that's a good list. It's a good list.
Because I'm just thinking, like, in terms of, like, I think of these more than just movies, like experiences. Like Infinity War was nuts, And Thor was just such a different, like, curveball type of movie that you didn't see it. And I love the guy who directed it, who was the voice of Korg, which I'm so happy he was back.
Yes, I'm so glad that he was
great.
back.
That was such a scene.
He was such a great character in Ragnarok.
Yeah,
this is Doug.
Yeah, which actually all the directors, everyone that directed a solo film, a solo Iron Man, a solo Captain America, and a solo Thor were all in Endgame.
Well, didn't Jon Favreau direct all 3 Iron Man movies?
Yeah, or at least the first 2. I think he did the third one too. I don't know. But then Russo did Captain America, and I think he was in that scene with Captain America at Citi Field when they're doing the group meeting.
Oh yeah.
I think that was Russo, and then Taika Waititi, he plays Korg. So that was pretty cool.
That was the guy that did Ragnarok, right?
Yeah. Hey man.
Okay. I love Korg. Korg is such an underrated character in the MCU. I'm so glad that he did come back for Endgame.
Yeah, that's my list.
Okay.
So I have Endgame up there in my top 5.
I would really have to sit down there and maybe one day I'll do it. I'll sit down there and list out all 22 movies. But for right now, I gotta see Endgame again before it cracks my top 5.
That's fair.
Yeah, so thank you for Liz. I think that's it, right? We're pretty much done here.
Covered it nicely. Good to get out.
Good to get it out. Yeah, so if if you want to, you know what? Here's what we'll do, right? If you stuck with us here through this Endgame pod, leave the show a rating and review, and in the rating and review, leave us your thoughts of what you thought Endgame was. You loved it, you hated it,
because everyone saw it except for Chris. You know. The other guy that hosts the other show we do.
This guy still hasn't even seen Batman from Michael Keaton.
Yeah, really.
Your brother lives under a rock.
Yeah, I'm not really a big
If it's not
fan
Jeopardy, he doesn't watch it.
It's honestly, it's either Jeopardy or Yankees.
I'm a real Yankee fan because I only have time to watch Yankee games. I don't have the energy and the interest in watching kids' movies, right? That's your brother. And to that, we say, okay. Peace! All right, so thank you. I don't even know. This is episode whatever it is of Hitting Hard.
I think you said 14 or something.
I don't know. Whatever it is. Whenever the wind blows in this direction, I'll come back and do another one.
Maybe we could get a whole movie review podcast going on here.
Well,
were you pissed off that your boy wasn't in this one?
Who?
A lot of people were upset that Sylvester Stallone didn't make a cameo. And
why
am I not in Avengers anymore? You know?
I didn't even think about it because his character was just kind of like okay, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
People said that he should have been there. What are they called? What is this group called?
I don't know, dude. Scavengers.
Yeah, Scavengers.
Or something like that. Oh, it was on the tip of my tongue right here. Oh, I forgot now. It's going to bother me. Come to me when we're done recording. Oh, that's it. I can't verify because I don't remember where I saw it, but apparently Chris Hemsworth has agreed to do more MCU movies.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because
they got to make an as Guardians of the Galaxy now.
Yeah, because you can't send him off with the Guardians of the Galaxy and then him not be in one of those movies.
And it totally seems like the next plot is going to be about Gamora. Because remember, did you notice that at the end, it's like a searching and it's her face that Star-Lord's looking at? So I think they were setting up that to be.
But she can't. Plot. She's supposed to be dead.
Right, but it's 2014. Yeah, but she should have been killed in the snap that Tony Stark did. Because he killed all of the enemies.
And that's the last thing I wanted to ask you. When you do the snap, right, is it just whatever you're thinking about at the time?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Thanos wanted to wipe out half of life, snap, dead. Right. And then he wanted to destroy the stones, snap, done. And then Tony Stark apparently just wanted to kill all of Thanos' friends, right. Snap, done.
I don't know, man. I agree, though. I don't know. But that's
and make it up as... So if you wanted
quarter pounder cheese.
Yeah, quarter pounder with cheese.
It's right there.
I wouldn't have destroyed the stones then. I would have just had whatever I wanted right in front of me.
Well, apparently it hurts when you use it.
Yes,
and
because
humans can't.
Because, obviously Thanos can survive the snap, but, Tony couldn't. So, okay. So I just looked it up. This is episode 13 of Hitting Hard. We want to thank you for listening to our Endgame review podcast. I want to thank Stat Guy Rye for joining me.
Thanks for having me, dude.
yeah, so I want to do more like these in the future if I can't get around to, streaming live, which, I want to do some Yankee centric stuff on my show, but like we've said before,
How much?
we're going to try to do 2 Yankee pods a week. How many times can you say the same thing, or how many different ways can you say?
What's the next big movie even coming out? Like, I feel
like
this is
Far From Home is coming out this summer.
Okay,
I'm not even that interested. I mean,
I don't know. I'm still obviously very interested in all these movies, but this one like just really took it all out of me. I think.
I mean, I understand why the new Spider-Man movie's coming out, but if I'm Marvel, I would have maybe taken the summer off.
I agree,
and let fans just like take a deep breath here, because this one got you right here.
Yeah,
this one got you. All right, so thank you for listening to episode 13 of Hitting Hard, and like I said, when I'm back, and we'll see what happens. Maybe Stat Guy Rye will join me for some more movie pods.
Hell yeah.
We did briefly touch on The Mule earlier, which was such a boring movie. It was like, hey, I'm a botanist, and then hey, now I'm a 90-year-old drug mule, and now hey,
the story could have been good too, because like that's apparently going on right now.
And now hey,
using old people.
Bradley Cooper caught me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, I'll just go to jail and play with my plants here, and that was the 2 hours of my life on Monday night.
Yeah. Very, very disappointed.
I don't know why I was expecting more of a Gran Torino type movie.
Gran Torino's so good.
Oh, it's so good. Such a good movie. Okay. Let's wrap this up here. We can go on for hours about movies. Thank you for listening. I said that 13 different times. This was episode 13. And, Stat Guy Rye?
I don't know. What do I say on your show? Same thing.
Goodbye.
All
right. And as I always say when I wrap this up, one day I'll have a signature goodbye for this show, but today is not that day. See you in the next episode.